The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Black Sports Weekly, featuring weekly in-depth interviews with some of today's most talked about athletes. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Black Sports Weekly.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yo, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, sports fans. Welcome to another week of Sports Weekly on BHL. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me today is
the one, the only, Mr. Kevin John.
Kevin John is here
from the couch.
I'm Charlotte Broadbent. What's up, everyone?
Charlotte Broadbent, Kevin John joining me here today with a very special guest. We have with us the only 10th female in all the 90 years of Harlem Globetrotter history. Tammy "Tea-Time" Brawner is in the house joining us today.
Yes.
Give it up.
Yes.
Yo, this is such an honor to have you here. And when I learned of your existence in the world, I was like, oh, I've got to find her, because not only do you ball, but she's really pretty, as you can see, and she models and she does her thing, and she doesn't look too bad in some high heels, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, it's great that you're here, and it's just amazing that you've accomplished what you've accomplished. And we just had to have you here and get to know you a little better and have you connect with your fans, just because you're a role model. And there's a lot of girls out there who are playing sports, any kind of sport, and to be able to cross over and be one of a few is very inspirational, to say the least. And I'm sure you hear that, and it's kind of out of body for you sometimes. I'm sure you're like, dang, I can't believe, like, wow, really? You get to travel the world and do all this stuff. So I'm gonna let you tell us, 'cause I'm gonna tell you guys all about her. I don't want to do that. So tell us where you're originally from. You're from somewhere in California. Tell us about that.
Oakland.
Oakland.
510.
510.
All day. I'm from Northern California too.
Where are you from?
I'm from Stockton.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. see, that's the reaction that Stockton gets. You know, it's just, ooh, I'm sorry. You know,
Right.
but I made it out. That's all that matters.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You made it out.
I made it out.
Okay, so you went to, what high school did you go to?
I went to Skyline High School.
Okay.
Played basketball there all 4 years.
Okay.
Went to college at Cal State Northridge.
Okay.
And I stopped playing basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, let's go back to high school.
Okay.
So you played in high school, obviously, and what position you were, like a
Point
one?
guard, shooting guard.
Okay,
combo.
so you played the 1 and the 2.
Yep.
Okay, now for female basketball, this is just my ignorance. How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
You're 5'5".
5'6" on paper.
5'6" on paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
5'7" in heels.
I need that. Yeah, right.
5'7" in heels. So what is considered like an adequate or tall or like average height for a 1 or 2 in female basketball?
About 5'8". I'm very undersized in my position, including my weight too, because usually, like, you see like Odyssey Sims, she's not that tall, but she's a little bigger as far as weight. So I'm very undersized.
Really?
How do you use that to your advantage to be able to get to the next level in high school and realize that you had a special talent?
Well, my first step was better than everybody else's, and I can squeeze through gaps. So I'm like a Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook type of point guard.
Okay.
And it's easy to fit and slide through people when you're smaller.
Right.
So that's kind of like my niche.
Russell Westbrook, shout out UCLA.
Right. Shout out. That's my favorite point guard.
Yeah, he's tight.
Yeah.
The Bruins, we come with it.
Y'all do come with it.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah, we got ballers.
Now name someone drafted from the Bruins within the last 3 years.
Oh, killer.
I'll wait. So anyways, we'll come back to you on that. So Tammy, you know, obviously being from Oakland, you know, our school, we played a lot of schools up there, McClymonds, Oakland High, you know, a lot of them. And you guys, at least Oakland, from what I know, you guys are known for being a very physical squad, you know, all the schools there. How did that shape you and, you know, strengthen you to the ball player that you became?
Good question.
Yeah, it gave me my backbone as a player because when you come from where I come from, you're playing with a different purpose. You know, you play against some of these other girls and they're just playing for fun. You know, when we play, we're playing because we need a college scholarship. Right. You know, we need to get out. We need to get out the hood, or we need to take care of our family. So, you know, we play with a chip on our shoulder. It's personal, and that definitely shaped a lot of my motivation of the game.
Right. So going into high school, what were your challenges competing for a spot? What were some of your strengths, and what were some of your weaknesses besides the size factor, like skill wise? What would you say were your strengths at that time, and what helped get you over the hump as far as your size was concerned? My
ball handling. I've always been like an amazing ball handler. Like I grew up watching And1, Iverson. Like I stole his crossover. I do it. And if you watch my college highlight film, I mimic it. And it every time. Get him every time.
Really?
So that's kind of like my style. Like ball handling, you can't stay in front of me. And I was always smaller than everybody. So I had to be able to create separation.
Right.
You know, because I couldn't shoot over the top of people. I wasn't big enough.
Right.
So I had to create a gap.
Now I'm curious, when did you know that you were gifted in basketball? Like what age was it when you found out, okay, I have a blessing here and I can do something with this?
I was in middle school and I was just like head and shoulders above the rest. You know, it was just, I started out in the 6th grade and I took an 8th grader spot immediately when I walked into middle school. Yeah.
Disrespectful.
I know, right? And she didn't like me. She didn't even like me after that. And I'm like, Coach did it, not me.
I wouldn't like you either.
Right?
I'd be like, this 6th grade punk took my spot.
Right. That's how she felt about it.
Right. Yeah.
But that's when I kind of knew, like, okay, wow, like I kind of have a talent here. And the thing about it is that I don't encourage this, but I didn't really work at the game at that age. So it was just
natural.
It was just kind of natural. But I did go to YMCA's. I was always at parks, so I did play a lot. But it wasn't a craft like I see kids working on now at such a young age.
Right.
For me.
I mean, these kids now. I mean, it's like a business.
Yeah.
It's like a business young. Like from Pop Warner, just knowing just like what goes into it. And the same thing with like the basketball leagues for kids. Like the parents are so involved and they're investing.
You know, they start these camps at like 4 years old now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, the kid can't even walk. How's he going to put shoulder pads on, you know?
Exactly.
But they're so serious about it now,
they're
you know?
serious.
And they'll pay whatever for it.
Right.
That's very true.
I mean, if you look at the Mannings, which is a little different because they come from like kind of the old school.
Well, Archie was a beast too,
right?
Though, you know?
The dad was, he played in the NFL also. But these kids now are being coached and
honed at an early age.
Yeah, exactly. Just crafted and molded from
even fed.
toddlerdom.
Yeah, I mean, these kids are getting steroid injections at 6.
Right.
Like, is that okay? Maybe not. I embellished, but still,
It's a lifestyle that they're teaching their kids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
exactly.
convinced some of them are getting injections in the belly while they're pregnant. I'm convinced.
Ooh.
Some of them just pop out out balling.
Pop out like LeBron, right?
Pop out like exactly. LeBron's a perfect example. I'm like, what was his mama taking while she was pregnant? What kind of prenatal vitamins was
Well, she was only 15 when she had him, so it couldn't have been anything that extra. But still, you never know.
That's
you
good
never
information.
know.
I didn't know that.
Or 16, something like that. I don't think that's an exclusive.
Right.
But,
No, it's not. It's not. It's not an exclusive. I just didn't know. Okay, so Tammy, you learned that your strength was ball handling skills, and that was helping you excel as a point guard. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that your weaknesses that you were like, okay, I need to work on these things to make myself at this time? Like you were like middle school, going to high school. Besides, like I said, barring the size thing, that's not something that's a skill. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. Skill wise, it was like, okay, I know I'm good at ball handling. What are some of the things that you needed to work on at that time to help make your game more well-rounded?
It was 2 things. One was just shooting, because everything where we were from were about flash. We wanted the crossover. We wanted the crowd out there see. We wanted somebody to fall. We didn't really work on shooting the ball.
Right.
So that was one of them that I had to learn when I got to high school. And the second one was just my attitude. Not like the girly attitude, like, don't touch me, my nails type of thing, but just a different mentality, like a Oakland mentality. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Come on. Stockton is the worst of the worst mentality.
Okay,
so
then you understand. It's just the wrong mentality to have, and you don't even realize you have it, which is the scary thing.
Right.
Until the coaches try to break you out of it, and you're like, I'm not listening to you either, type of thing.
Right.
So I had to really adjust with that, because my high school coach didn't play that.
Got you.
Yeah.
So being coachable is in any sport or in life, period. If
yes.
you're trying to accomplish anything, is
yes.
very, very key and very, very important, kids out there.
Very.
Just so you know. So you have to be able to listen. If you can't you can't grow if you can't learn. Or if you're not even allowing yourself to be open to learning, you can't grow and you can't become better. So that is, I remember dealing and playing ball with some guys that were just like knuckleheads that had so much natural talent, but they weren't coachable, and it was really hard to break the ice. Like just getting them to submit to somebody else's teaching is really like. It seems like it would be a natural thing. Like, oh, I want to learn how to be better at this. Well, you're going to teach me how to do it. No, it's just really funny because, athletes and being an athlete is, I think there's a lot of ego that goes into being an athlete. When you have a physical ability, you think that you're like God's gift to the earth to a certain degree. And it's like, God gave me this ability and nobody could tell me anything and blah, blah, blah. So it can be hard to take coaching from, that's what makes coaches good, even at the professional level.
You know what? At the professional level, it's only about player management. It's not even about X's and O's. Like Pop, you see the way he gets though. They don't care who scores, when they score.
That's team basketball.
That's team basketball. But you got to convince. These are NBA guys who were all stars in college, right? They were all the big shot on college campuses, and you come to the NBA. And he gets all of these guys to say, I don't care about me personally. I care about what's on the front of this jersey.
Right.
That's a tough thing to do with those egos.
Yeah.
That's true. And, speaking of being coachable, one player who I think was the staple of being able to show the transition you can make from being coachable is Phil and Kobe. Obviously, Kobe, as we all know, was a little hot-headed coming into the league.
Right.
But you saw... After a while, Phil's obviously just one of the greatest philosophers / coaches / leaders, mentors, what have you. But once he was able to submit to Phil's philosophy and coaching style, you saw the transition in his game, and you saw how they were able to all play together. So I think
he wanted to be like Mike.
What was that?
He wanted to be like Mike. He had the same coach Mike did. And Michael had that same problem when Phil first went to the Bulls. He had a huge problem with being coachable, especially with all the accomplishments that he had before Phil even signed on with the Bulls. There was a big...
Well, you also got to understand, before Phil got there, Mike was putting up 42 points a game. I mean, he didn't really have the team, and so he was used to depending on himself. Kind of like Kobe before,
Exactly.
Before the second time Phil got there, he was... So I understand, and I think that's a very good point that you do make, as far as being coachable and playing for what's on the front of your jersey, not the name that's on the back of your jersey.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to convince players to do. I know as a player, that was tough for me to understand.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you want that championship, but at the same time, you want to shine.
Yeah.
So through high school, when you were learning all these skills and trying to get away from the negatives that you didn't, the not strengths that you were trying, the weaknesses, that's the word I was thinking of, the weaknesses that you were trying to overcome, how did you get through high school and then decide that maybe ball isn't what I want to do?
You know what? I don't like to blame my environment for things, but I can't deny that it's partly responsible for some things. I wasn't prepared going into college for Division I athletics. No one told in high school you practice 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
You get to college, you got conditioning at 6 a.m. Yep. You got class, you got study hall, you got individuals, you got weights. That's your whole day.
Yeah, sure.
So I hit a brick wall. And then when you play your whole life, you get to the point where you're like, okay, maybe I want to try something new.
Yeah.
And I was in LA.
Burnt out.
Yeah, I was in LA, and they were like, you should model, you should act. I'm like, why not, right? Right? I'm like, that sounds good. And plus, I was always told that I was undersized anyway. I mean, everything just started getting in my head,
right?
And all the misguidance and misdirection, and I end up stop playing.
Right.
So, well, for a short period of time, obviously, because you speaking of change, you resurrected your career, getting into the Harlem Globetrotters, and I'm curious, how did that whole thing come about?
Okay, so I stopped playing at Northridge. I actually graduated. I didn't play my whole 4 years at Northridge. Okay. So I ended up graduating with my BA.
What did you graduate with?
BA in criminal justice.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I was planning on going to law school.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah.
I kind of, even though I love basketball, I kind of had hung it up. But in my heart, I didn't. But I thought, I quit. I'll never be able to play again type of thing. No coach is going to want me as a quitter. So I just left it alone for a little bit. But in the back of my mind, something kept saying, try it again, try it again, try it again. And I'm like, how am I going to try it again? Like, I've already had my BA, it's over, you know?
Right.
But when you really want to do something, you find a way.
Yeah.
Right. So I started researching the NCAA rules, and I found out, like, yo, I have eligibility at the Division II level now, though. No longer at the Division I because I used it at Northridge.
Okay.
So I contacted some coaches, and first coach that I worked out with, she said, one play in the open gym. She said, you're the point guard I wanted. I didn't even have to play anymore. She said, I want you.
Really?
Dang.
Yeah.
You must have broke some ankles on that play.
I did. First play came down, AI crossover.
I was about to say, you must have did something extraordinary that play.
She over here injuring other players.
Right.
Like,
I know, right?
We need them. Don't break their ankles.
Yeah.
We need that player. Okay, so where was this?
Dominican University.
This is Dominican University.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got picked up off of the AI.
The AI.
Off of what play?
Thank you,
Right,
thank you,
AI.
AI. And now you're on the Dominican University team. Where is that located?
It's in California.
Okay.
It's in the Bay Area, San Rafael.
Okay.
How does that work, going from graduating for a D1 school going into D2? Because you have to be taking classes, right?
Yeah.
So you had to go back to, did you go to graduate school?
Yep.
Or?
That's what I had to do. So I decided to go to graduate school and get my MBA, which I ended up graduating with.
Holla.
Hey.
There you go.
She's just starting to look better and better
Exactly.
on paper. It's starting to catch up to the looks. It's like this. Like the resume is starting to look like, "Ooh, she's a baller. She's got a graduate degree."
Baller, beauty, and brains.
What
the
the
three
heck?
essential B's.
Yeah, they are the 3 B's.
Yeah, the 3 B's.
Yes, thank you for surmising that, Kevin. Yes, that's exactly what it is, the 3 B's.
That's what I'm
go
here
ahead.
for.
Yes. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I ended up studying global business management.
Okay.
And I was playing, and I did really well. I was a standout player in our conference. When I graduated, a lot of agencies were calling me, trying to pick me up. I ended up signing with one agency. The Harlem Globetrotters contacted them and were like, hey, we want to bring Tammy in for a workout. So my agent contacted me, and I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know the Globetrotters had a women's team. That's awesome. Right? Right? I'm like, I never heard of that.
Wow.
And they're like, no, you're going to be playing with the guys. I'm like, no. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I went to this workout, and it was an adjustment for me because, one, I was playing with the guys' ball in the workout, right?
Right.
And people think as the Globetrotters, like, we come in, know how to do all those tricks. No, we're ball players.
Right.
Like, we don't know how to do any of that. So then in the workout, it was just ball handling, shooting, and scrimmaging for like an hour and a half.
Okay, so you got a little bit of a leg up on everybody because you're a ball handler, but it's an adjustment because if you guys don't know, there's a size difference with the guy's ball, the male ball, and the female's ball,
Yeah.
right? So handling the ball is different.
Much different.
Shooting it, just handling it, period. It's not the same thing. I remember you would go like to girls' practice back in the day, and then remember the ball was like, we used to think it was so small, and then shooting it was like really weird because you're always like overshoot the ball.
Felt like a
Yeah.
tennis ball, right?
It was a lot
felt so
lighter,
light.
too.
It's so so you're dealing with a ball that's heavier.
Heavier,
you.
bigger, and
Probably felt like a medicine ball.
right. Right. So I had to adjust to it, and I'm like, how's this gonna go? I mean, especially as far as shooting, like, I'm like, how's this gonna go? You know, but the thing about it, when something's second nature to you, you adapt like really quickly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just like a few times I shot around with the ball, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's go. I did really well. Like I said, it was a typical tryout. The only thing that was different was that it was all guys in there. So guys are coming down on a fast break like this. They don't care.
How intimidating was that to actually be, working out with men? You played with girls, obviously, your whole life.
Yeah.
So not only do you have the bigger ball, but you have a lot of testosterone out
Yeah,
there.
right?
Yeah.
What was the adjustment like to that? Were you scared? Were you fear? Or were you like, come on, bring it on, fellas?
Yeah, I'm a real bring it on type of person. Like, that's just how Oakland made me. Like, I felt like if I made it out of Oakland, like, what else? Like, what else is
why?
there? You know, right?
Yeah.
So, but it is a difference when you're playing with guys that are 6'8", 6'9", move like a train,
Shiza.
jump
Yeah.
like crazy. But it's basketball at the end of the day. There's still basic principles and fundamentals that you play by. And if you can play by those, you're going to be all right.
How did they react to you?
That's a good question.
And
In the way that just a female is now coming onto their male team, it's kind of like, oh, is there no guy that can come on? Did you kind of get that backlash?
You have some guys that are like, okay, that's a girl. So a few of them like, oh, I can't really guard her like that until you cross them one time and everybody goes, ooh, and they're like, okay, now I got to really guard her. But the rest of them, they treating me like normal. It's like I'm gonna go right at her. I got guys trying to dunk on me. They still try to dunk on me in practice. They don't care. Yeah.
Disrespectful.
They don't care.
Man. It's like you but then again, it's like you wouldn't want them to show mercy on you just because you're a girl.
Right.
Because that would make you feel, that would alienate you.
Right.
So in a way, it's kind of like, okay, if you want to dunk on me, that's cool. I'm just going to break your ankles the next time.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how it goes. Like we play one-on-one in practice, and I've beaten a lot of them. Let the record show, I've beaten a lot of them in practice one-on-one.
Really?
Yeah. But when I
Care to name any names?
Right? Calling out names.
Cool, Cal.
All I can say is they know who
they are.
Yeah, right?
They know.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Yeah, when they watch it, they gonna know.
You're gonna go back to like, I can't believe you called me. I didn't say your name, but I know that you beat me and you mentioned it.
Did they off the court? Did they also act the same? Because there is some with male and female, just that's the way society is sometimes,
Yeah, we're definitely different.
Yeah.
Like, way different. And I was kind of like the tomboy girl growing up, so I thought like, oh, okay, it's not that big of a difference. They're different. Like way different. But they really became my brothers. Really. I mean, they're very overprotective. We go out somewhere. If a guy approaches me, it's like 10 guys surrounding me within a second. Like, coat on.
And those are big guys too.
Big guys, right? Yeah. Right? They're intimidating.
Yeah.
But they're like brothers. They're really, really cool off the court. They're still guys though, so. Yeah.
How does that whole locker room dynamic work?
Oh, I have my own locker room. I can't be in a locker room with them.
No, I know, but
that'd be a violation of something in there,
It would be. Well, it would have to be. But...
I actually am in the locker room. So what happens is when we arrive at the gym, I have my own separate locker room. I go change. They change in theirs. And then afterwards, I'll go into their locker room just for team camaraderie.
Right.
It's fun. It's definitely funner than the girls' locker room.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine.
Hands down.
Now, my curiosity with the Harlem Globetrotters is obviously it's a team that's assembled to put on a show. It's for entertainment. So is it, does that take away the competitive aspect, seeing that, before when you balled, organized in college stuff, it was always, win. Seeing that this was more so for entertainment, how was that making, what was your reaction to that? Was it difficult? Were you like, well, we got to win regardless? Or what was the philosophy going into that?
Well, for me, it was perfect because it was the entertainment aspect and the basketball aspect all in one. So it's perfect for me. As far as competitiveness, it's still very competitive. I mean, guys, I had 2 black eyes last year.
2 black eyes?
2 of them.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean,
isn't that like a breach of?
Yeah, they don't do it intentionally. I'm like elbow length at most of them.
Right.
So if they turn or I'm trying to get a rebound,
sometimes you just get caught.
That's my eye.
Yeah.
That's automatically my eye.
Right. But especially from a guy that's really significantly taller than you.
Yeah.
That's like his normal.
Yeah. I'm at elbow level for a lot of them. So it's tough. They don't do it on purpose, and they always apologize about it, however it happens. But it's competitive. I mean.
Yeah, keep your head on a swivel out there.
Yeah.
How does it do the Harlem Globetrotters, I remember when I was a kid and I went to a couple of games, they played the Washington Generals, I believe it was, and it was is it still kind of choreographed? How does that work? How do the games set up, and how does the show work?
Well, we have certain things that we do all the time. Our entertainment aspect. You've been to a game. Some things we do. We're entertaining. We have a guy, our showman, that's on the mic. Right. He's joking around with the fans. But then you have the serious part of it. Where it gets real.
So who orchestrates that?
They put it together, kind of thing.
Okay.
They kind of put it together, and we just go out there and do what we do.
Because the Harlem Globetrotters have lost to the Generals before, haven't they?
I haven't lost.
Are they always win?
She said, I haven't. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
This year we actually didn't play the Generals. They're now the World All-Stars because the guys are not just from America anymore. We have guys from everywhere.
Okay.
So they're supposed to be better. It's supposed to be better.
Quote unquote.
In quotes, yeah.
Well, when you beat up on them, that just makes you guys look that much better as well, since they're supposed to be better, right?
Right.
So how was the transition? What were the hardest things adjusting game wise? Because you guys do a lot of tricks, and there's the entertainment aspect. There's a lot of showmanship with a lot of street ball antics, kind of sort of there's the around the backs and the twirling of the ball, and then the guys, they do so many different things that are entertaining. You're like, okay, that's an adjustment, because obviously that's not like traditional basketball.
Right.
So how do you guys have a separate coach for the tricks? Like, how does that work?
All the coaches were ex-players.
Okay.
So they all know how to do all of that stuff. But that was the biggest adjustment for me. Like, I was trying to spin the ball on my finger the first day in training camp. It was like, boom. It was like, it wasn't staying up.
Right.
Just the ball on your body. And then you're there and there's these veterans there and they're doing everything with the ball. And you're like, yo, I'll never be able to do that with the ball. Right? It's that intense.
Yeah.
But eventually, it's like anything. Whatever you work at, you'll be good at.
Right.
You know, you work at nothing, you'll be good at nothing.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, we work every day in the gym. And next thing you know, second nature, you know?
Now, are there actually any rules in Harlem? Like, do they call like traveling or double dribble or any of these typically NBA or organized basketball rules?
Man, I slide on the ground with the ball. We don't have rules.
There's no. So basically, the refs are just out there just for the entertainment. You know?
No, we do go by the normal rules. I mean, traveling, doubling. They will allow us sometimes when we do like a trick kick pass or something like that. They won't call kickball.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, the rules are normal. You know, foul. Even though, you know, some fouls don't get called sometimes.
As in the NBA.
As in the NBA,
You know?
right? I guess it comes with the game.
Yeah.
Right.
But all good.
What would you say your most memorable moment being a Globetrotter was? What was the one moment that stood out to you?
It would be tied for two things right now. One, I had the opportunity to play on an aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf, right?
Wow.
Crazy,
An
right?
aircraft carrier.
Yeah, like jets flying in.
What
on the
ocean was this on?
Persian Gulf.
Oh, the Persian Gulf. You did say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Right?
I'm just amazed that you're on an aircraft carrier.
I
Like,
know.
I'm like,
Playing
what?
basketball, right?
Well, I've
That's
seen them
dope.
do that with NCAA games that they've had on various carriers. I even think I saw a football game or something on a carrier. So I don't know if it's something new they've been incorporating, but so
Yeah.
that was one. What was the other?
The second one was playing in Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
MSG.
The Garden.
Like, I played in the Staples. I love the Staples Center. I know we're in LA.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
But there's no better energy than Madison Square Garden. We sold it out.
Wow.
We sold it out. Ben Stiller even wrote me a personal letter after the game because he was at our game.
What?
Hand wrote it. Sent it to the office. Office sent it to me. Like,
Where's that letter at now?
it's in my backpack. I keep it in there.
Okay.
Definitely keep that.
Like a memento.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to frame it though, right? Why is it in my
That's what I
backpack?
would have
What did he
did.
say?
He just said the experience. Right? What did he say?
What did he
Tell
say?
me. He just said the experience is one of a lifetime and he'll never forget. And it was a special father-son, because he brought his son, father-son moment. And he just said that he's very grateful for us and what we do.
To be able to get a note like that,
Yeah.
and she got it to her personally, that's bomb. That's so dope.
No, that is.
Like,
'cause
wow.
I remember when I received my first note from Barack Obama, and it was kind of the same kind of thing.
You're on another level though, Obama.
Okay, I made that up, but still, the point is, it is remarkable. Okay, and I mean, just something like that, something like that. I'm just speaking it to existence. You know, that's what I'm doing.
All right.
But yeah, but now speaking of that, the fact that you were on the Harlem Globetrotters, let's talk a little bit about your, I guess, just being a mentor, positive influence, and a role model to girls and things of that sort. Have you felt a lot more pressure to carry yourself or conduct yourself in a certain way now that you're kind of on a national stage?
Not really, because this is who I am naturally. Like, I've grown. I would like to think, at least I'm a good person. I'm a good citizen. I try to do the right thing. So it's not really that hard to be who I am, and I'm genuine about the messages that I carry, which is very consistent with the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm an advocate for education. I came from a really, really rough area, and I managed to overcome that. Because I was a monster at one point. I didn't know it. Like just the way I acted and what I thought was okay and not okay, but I didn't know.
Right.
I had no idea.
Right.
So I really stand for a lot of good things. So it's not really that hard to go out and be me, because I don't have to put on a different hat when I go out.
Right.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Exactly.
Keeping it 100.
Right.
How involved are you in the community now, back where you're from? Because obviously being on a world stage it's huge. It's a big deal, and having overcome those same obstacles, I'm sure a lot of youth is dealing with in your hometown. what are you involved in the neighborhood? Or are you going back and giving back? Or how involved are you?
Definitely. I went back to the high school where I graduated from. Skyline.
Yes.
And I became a coach. And I did that particularly because I love coaching. It's something I could see myself doing. And I was once those same girls. So what I wanted to do, my coach was a male and he was a positive influence. But what I wanted to do was be the lady that I didn't get a chance to see other than in my house. But when you're in high school, your mom is like, yeah, I hear you, but I don't hear you, because you go deaf ear to your parents. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I wanted to be that young person that comes in and is like, yo, what your mom is saying is right. What your coaches are saying is right.
Right.
You can't, people told me I'd never graduate from college. I'd never get into college. So I know they heard the same thing.
Right.
So I went back and told them you can. And I'm not just telling you, I'm your example. I got an MBA.
Right.
So that's what I go back and try to be to those girls. And one of the best things ever, when I walked into the program, there was a young girl. And she, from Oakland, she didn't have no sense. I ain't going to college. I don't care about college. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to yada.
Right.
That's what she, I'm saying?
Turn up. Yeah. Like, wow.
Turn down for what? That's what she was on, right? That's what kind of kid she was. But after 2 years of coaching her,
right,
she said that she not only wanted to get her BA, but she wanted to go and get her MBA, right? So, that was gratifying to me. I'm like, my job has been done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be successful until you help someone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you also try and shape them to get them ready for college? Because that was something that you missed.
Yeah, definitely. I take myself as a personal mentor to them. So, every day I had quotes for them, life quotes. And we discussed them. I tell them what college was like. Mentally, I tried to prepare them because physically they're capable. It's just mentally they're not there. So that was my job. And I did my best. And really, I coached for 4 years up there.
Okay.
And the freshman class that I came in with and the senior class, all 5 of our seniors all went to college. We had LSU, Hampton, Virginia State.
Wow.
Got some HBCUs in there.
Right, yeah, HBCUs, right?
Yeah.
And that was the first time in a while that we've had all of our seniors go on to 4-year universities, not JCs, even though there's nothing wrong with junior colleges. I'm going to put that out there right now.
No, but it's still a major accomplishment to be able to go straight into a major university.
And they're still there. There's sophomores about to be juniors. All of them still there, not kicked out. And that's big because a lot of us where I'm from, we go to college and we're kicked out the next year. Or we go to college and we can't handle it. That's what I seen.
Yeah.
That's what I seen. So
Right.
for all of these girls to be there, I still talk to them. I'm still in contact with them all the time.
You're a G.
You're
impressive. Now she's a mentor too on top of all that.
She's a beast, indeed.
Beastie.
It's that Oakland, you know what I mean?
Right?
That Oakland, that just instills a certain kind of toughness in you,
It
you know,
does.
a certain strength and power. But that's just so awesome that, a lot of times you hear that, people are blessed to have certain careers, but I think you're blessed to be a blessing. And, to see that you're, being influential in that, in that aspect is just, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I was going to say, what's next? Seeing that you've already accomplished so many things, what do you have next? What is the next thing you want to do?
What's next on Tammy's agenda?
Right?
Right. I'm moving into some acting things now with my agency.
Okay.
So hopefully I get something big with that soon. But
Okay.
that's kind of the direction I'm going in right now.
Awesome.
Any acting classes or anything?
I
Workshops?
took some at Cal State Northridge, but no, none. I hope I'm a natural, but we'll see. I mean, I've done a few things. I've done a few commercials. I've done a few other reality shows, a segment of it.
What reality shows have you?
I did Beverly Hills Pawn Shop. It should be released soon.
With Corey Oliver.
Corey.
I know Corey.
Yeah, okay.
Those are my people.
Corey is my girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good people.
Yeah.
She's good
She
people.
is. She's small one.
Real good people.
Right.
Yeah, so
I guess that was a shout out to Corey. And
shout out to you.
Corey.
Right. Yeah,
How
we're
you doing,
here.
Corey? You were recognized today. Shout outs, big ups, all that good stuff.
Right.
So that's dope. So you're actually pursuing and making a transition. Well, how much long? Do you have a contract with the Globetrotters right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how long is?
Well,
your
we renew
contract
our
for?
contracts every year.
Okay, so it's a yearly
It's a
renewal.
yearly thing.
Okay, so what is your own personal? How long would you like to continue playing or be involved before you just completely dip out and you're like doing your own thing away from basketball and you
Right.
left basketball behind? Where are you at as far as that's concerned?
It's so hard to say. I mean, I love what I do. I love playing with the Globetrotters. Obviously, if I could, I'd do it my whole life, you know,
Right.
but it's just not realistic. So I don't know. I just kind of take it day by day and let life take me where it's going to take me, you know, type of thing. But I definitely enjoy what I do, and that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But I have several other endeavors that I'm into.
Right.
So
It's good that it gives you the flexibility to be able to do other things.
Yeah.
Like pursue the acting and go back home and coach and
right,
yeah.
right.
Now, I don't know if I noticed this in your bio. I'm assuming you don't, but do you have any children or family of your own or anything of that sort?
No.
I mean, not that you have time for it.
Right,
but-
right. That's the thing. No kids yet. Even though yet. My significant other is kind of pressing me about that right now. Right.
Well, you're still young, so you got plenty of time.
you're
Yeah,
definitely
so
young.
you know, I don't see any within the next year or two, but
Okay.
yeah.
But we will look out for some little Brawners. some little tea times. Looking around and the next just, hey, check in with me in 36 months. So, you know, something might be around, running around.
And that kid's gonna come out balling too.
Right.
He's gonna be spinning the ball at the
Right.
age of 1. Like,
Right.
damn, you know?
It's in that boy's DNA.
Right?
Or a girl's DNA. It could be a boy or girl. It could be a baller either way.
Right.
So you got some other endeavors that you're working on. Are you writing anything or?
I am. I'm in the process of writing a book right now.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Because I know you're a big advocate for education, so I know education advocates love to transfer the information.
Absolutely.
You know, via books or whatever, so it makes sense.
Yep.
So, okay, so what is this?
So I'm writing a book. It's called Breaking Out, and it's talking about breaking out of Oakland. And I titled it that because when I sat down in my MBA program, because you know the school I went to was a private institution for my MBA.
Okay.
So they care more about academics and athletics. So even though athletically I was accepted, I still had to academically prove myself. So I sat down for a meeting with one of the deans.
Okay.
And the lady looked at me and she just said to me, she said, "How did you make it out?" And I said, "What do you mean? Make it out? Make it out? What are you talking about?" She's like, "How did you make it out?" I'm like, "Out of what? What are you talking about?" She's like, "Out of Oakland." I'm like, "Is it that bad? You know, where people have to act like it's a zoo or something, or a jail where people have to ask me like, how did you make it out?" And I started to think about everything and process everything. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I did make it out. You know, I started looking at the people around me and where they're at. If they wasn't dead or in jail, they weren't doing anything.
Right.
You know, so you're like, okay, wait a minute. I did have to break out, you know?
Right.
So I titled the book Breaking Out.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, the funny thing about growing up in a certain situation, it's like you're free, but you're not free.
Exactly.
And so it is kind of like being in this prison, so to speak. But it's almost worse because you have all the freedoms in the world to do things, but then you don't have the freedoms to do things. I just know this because I grew up in South Central Los Angeles.
There you go.
So I know what it's like, and after becoming a grown man, I understand why my mother was the way she was. I mean, she was like a hawk.
Yeah.
Like fierce.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and it was like, I can't do anything. But when you get older, you realize why.
Exactly.
You're like, dude, this is survival rate is
Right.
it's like this.
Right.
So the fact that you were able to break out is a miracle within itself, and just to be able to, do something. And of course, when you're living it, you don't process it. It probably took somebody else, like you said. Is that what inspired the book when you met with the
it is.
dean?
Yep.
So that kind of made you kind of process everything. Like, oh my gosh,
Right.
look at really what I've done,
Yeah.
what I've
Where I've
accomplished,
come.
and where I've come from. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
I'm here, right? Look at me
But
now.
really,
Right.
yeah, it's like, you're a big, huge inspiration. So when could we expect, or when should we expect this book to be finished and to check it out on the shelves and to read it? Because I know a lot of people are interested in what actually like to read your story. Reading someone's story and getting the details is a lot different than just sitting down and talking to them.
Right.
It's a different perspective. So I would definitely love to read Breaking Out.
I would love for you to read it.
Honestly, I want to take Breaking Out once you go on your book tour.
Yeah.
I would love for you, and I can even organize this, for you to stop in Stockton and do that book, because just like Oakland and South Central, Stockton is another one of those cities that is just, you can easily become a statistic.
Right.
So I think that would resonate and hit home with so many people there. So you have to do something in Stockton.
I'm down. I'm definitely down.
And
Okay,
South Central,
cool.
too.
I will sponsor it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Do a
Let's
book
make it
signing.
happen.
We have set up a couple of book signing events. Have you meet some people, shake some hands. It would be great. We'll talk about it off camera.
I know, right?
So when can we expect it?
I'm almost done writing. I'm about 2 chapters away from finishing it right now. The process in between this is my first book. The publishing company said it could be a short time or it could be months.
Okay.
It just depends on how much they have to edit and all of that.
So hopefully by the end of the year.
Hopefully. That would be the goal.
Yeah.
Now, can all of us get a free copy of it?
Of course.
I want a copy
Right.
with a signed copy with another picture, Polaroid slipped up in there.
Hand deliver. You
Exactly.
got it.
That's
you
what
got
I
it.
want.
I was thinking, just listening to you talk about, writing the book, and I guess your overall literary excellence. Have you ever thought about doing something biographical, like a movie or something of that sort about your life and the fact that you've...
Definitely. We want to take the book. Me and my agency were talking about this with the publishing company. We want to take the book and kind of make a movie or a documentary out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk.
Right.
No, I think that would be amazing. I think that would really be awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal.
Who would play you? Who would you want to play you?
Oh,
Maya Moore.
Tough question.
she's too tall.
She
though.
is,
They're
though.
gonna
Yeah,
be like, come on.
Yeah, that is true. But I don't know.
You know who I think I could see playing her, but I don't know if she has any ball handling skills. Lauren London.
Laura London.
I think Lauren London would be good playing her.
I don't see. I don't know, because I don't know if Lauren can do the crossover like you said.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But in film, there's ways of tricking the audience into,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They tricked us with Common in that one basketball movie. So,
Exactly.
That is very true. So, who would you like to play you if you can have any actress play?
Laura London was a good pick. Nia Long is one of my favorite actresses.
She's too old.
Yeah, well, she looks young.
I mean, they can young
She
her
does
up a
look
little
young.
bit,
She does look young.
She's not that tall. Put some hair on her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or speaking of older actresses playing younger, Stacey Dash can play you too.
Stacey Dash.
I can totally see it.
Legend.
That's true.
There you go.
Even though she's like 50 now, but still, she can pull it off.
She does. She can, but she looks like she's 20.
I know, right?
Yeah.
She looks amazing.
There we go.
Stacey.
Stacey Dash.
Stacey, we need you. I don't know where she's at, but we need you.
Right. So if you need a casting director, to cast a talent, that sees stuff.
You got Stacey for me, right?
I don't know if I have her for you, but I can make that happen.
Okay.
I'll call her people.
Okay.
We'll work it out.
Let's do it.
Exactly. Okay, so you guys have any more questions for Tammy?
I think we covered a lot.
Where did Tea Time
think-
come from? That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to ask. Where did Tea Time come from?
Oh,
And what
my
is it?
name is Tammy, so everybody has a nickname.
Right.
So they call me T. And when I would be on the basketball court, I'd have these spurts in high school where I'd go off for like 15, 20 points in a row, right? Where I'm just like in a zone.
On fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "Uh-oh, it's tea time. Uh-oh, it's tea time."
Gotcha.
Kind of like Miller
Nice.
time with Reggie when
With
he would go
Reggie.
off. They would call him Miller time when he would go.
That's true.
Yeah.
When he would be on
Forgot
fire.
about that.
Yeah.
He's on fire. Okay, so where can we find you, Intel? Where can your fans locate you on social media or whatever?
I do Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My Twitter is at Tammy_Denise and the number 12. My Instagram, don't judge me. I had it for a long time, okay? It's called Tam Stunner.
Tam Stunner.
Yeah.
No judgment at all.
No, yeah, I know, but I was kind of old back when Lil Wayne was like the number one stunner.
What?
All right.
Right.
Okay, Charlotte and Kevin, where can we find you guys till next time?
You can find me at CharlotteB_TV on Twitter and Instagram and CharlotteBroadbentTV.com.
Kevin.
I'm Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn or on my website, itskevinjohn.com.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus, also GQJedi.com. And make sure you guys look out for this book from Tammy Brawner called Breaking Out, soon to hit a shelf near you. Until next time, sports fans, peace.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.